Learn English through stories D17 PDF. Adapted and modified by Kulwant Singh Sandhu. Contents 1. A dream come true. 2. Jokes. 3. Grammar page. 1. A dream come true. By Satyajit. No one is ever fully satisfied with one's appearance. Ram might wish he had a little more flesh on his body, all his bones stuck out so. Shyam might wonder why he could not sing, when the fellow next door played the harmonium every evening and sang to his heart's content. Jadu might say, if only I could be a sportsman. Look at Gavaskar, he has created so many records and become so famous. Madhu's wish might be to become a film star in Bombay. If he could have his wish, money and glamour would both come pouring in. Like most people, Nitam Datta too had a lot of unfulfilled desires. To start with, there were many things about himself that he did not like. For instance, he could see others eating fruit and enjoying it. Mangoes, lychees, apples, grapes. Each fruit was well known for its taste and good qualities. People who ate them found such nourishment from each of them. But Nitam, he did not like eating fruit at all. He just wasn't interested. Why did God have to make him such a strange exception? He was not happy with his appearance either. He was reasonably good-looking, but not very tall. Once he had got his height measured. It was 5 feet 6 inches. One of his colleagues was 6 feet tall. Nitam often looked at him, and his heart filled with envy. If only he could gain a few inches. Nitam worked in the office of Mukherjee Builders and Contractors. He had been there for the last 14 years. His employers were quite happy with him. His salary was enough to keep him, his wife, and his 2 children in reasonable comfort. But the truth was that Nitam did not like the idea of doing a job. So many people made a living by writing novels and stories. Of course, they had to work hard, but they were not forced to spend several hours, from 10 in the morning to 5 in the evening, bent over a desk. Besides, one could make a name for oneself only by becoming a writer or artist or musician, not by doing a job in an office. But that was all Nitam felt he was destined to do. He would never know what it meant to bring joy to a large number of people. It was to him a great cause for regret. One of his friends, Manitos was an actor. He was really quite gifted and had joined the theater as a professional actor. He played the lead most of the time and had by now become quite well known. Nitam had said to him more than once, "Why don't you teach me how to act, Manitos? I really want to learn. If I could get even a couple of small roles in amateur theater, people would come to know me." Manitos's reply had been, "Not everyone can do it. Nitam, you need a good, powerful voice to be an actor. You haven't got that. If people in the back rows couldn't hear you, they'd boo so loudly that you'd forget all your lines." This year, Nitam went to Puri during the Puja holidays. There, he found a sadhu Baba. The Baba was standing on the beach, surrounded by a group of about 20 men and women. The sight of a sadhu always made Nitam curious. This one, in particular, looked so powerful that he felt he had to go and see him more closely. Nitam pushed his way through the crowd. Babaji's eyes fell on him almost at once. "What are you trying to do, Nitam?" he asked. "Why do you wish to be what you are not?" Nitaram's jaw fell open. How did the sadhu learn his name? Clearly, he had some psychic powers. I mean. Nitam faltered. "No, are you denying it?" The sadhu cut him short. "I can see it all so vividly. Your body has been divided into 2. One is what you are, the other is what you desire to be. It is your desire that's getting stronger. What are you going to do?" "You tell me." Nitam cried. "Please tell me what's going to happen. I am a simple man, Baba. I know nothing." "You will get what you want," the sadhu replied. "But not right away. It will take time after all. The whole thing must be uprooted. Then new roots must grow and spread under new earth. To gain a foothold, it won't be easy, but as I just said, one day it will happen. Nitam returned to Calcutta a few days after this incident. One day, soon after his return, he suddenly felt like eating a banana. He spotted a man selling a whole basketful at the crossing of Benting Street. Nitam bought one from him, ate it, and found it quite tasty. Could this mean that, even at the age of 39, one might find one's tastes changing? Nitam did not, at the time, think that this had anything to do with what the sadhu had said. But this was the first of the many changes that slowly came over him. He went back to his office, but for several days could not concentrate on his work. His mind kept going back to what the sadhu had told him in Puri. One day, Phony Babu, his colleague who sat at the next table, lit a cigarette when it was time for their lunch break, and said, "Why are you so preoccupied, Mr. Mitter? What's on your mind?" Then he inhaled deeply, letting out in the next instant a cloud of smoke, which got into Nitaram's throat and made him cough. This was surprising, since Nitam often smoked himself. He was used to it. Why then did it upset him today? Why, he had a packet of wills in his own pocket. It suddenly occurred to him that he had not had the cigarette he normally had at around 11, after a cup of tea. This had never happened before. So here was another change, a big one, that had crept into his daily habits. Nitam realized it, but said nothing about it to Phony Babu. After that day, Nitam began to change very quickly. He gave up wearing a lundi at home and began wearing dhotis. Then he became a vegetarian and started going to a homeopath instead of his own doctor. He even switched the parting in his hair from the left to the right. He had always been clean-shaven. Now he grew a small, thin mustache. His hair grew longer, over his neck. One Saturday, Nitam took his wife to see a play. His friend, Manitos Bagshai, was playing the hero. Nitam realized what a capable actor he was. He knew how to impress the audience. And the audience, too, showed its appreciation by breaking into frequent spontaneous applause. Nitam felt a fresh longing to become an actor. He went to see his friend backstage after the show and praised his acting prowess with the utmost sincerity. Then he added a few words of regret about his own failure to appear on the stage. Manitos slapped his back. "Why do you wish to invite trouble, my friend? Do you realize how uncertain things are in the theater?" he asked. "I may be here today, but tomorrow I may well be gone. You are better off with your steady job, far more secure." Nitam had gone to the matinee show. On his way back from the theater, he stopped in College Street and bought a few plays as well as books on the theater. Manorama, his wife, asked, "What will you do with these?" "Read them," Nitam replied briefly. "But I've never seen you read plays." "Now you shall," said Nitam. Manorama had not failed to notice the changes her husband had undergone. But she had not commented on them. She did not know anything about the sadhu or what he had told Nitam, for she had not accompanied him to Puri. On that occasion, she had had to go back to her own house to look after her ailing father. Nitam had decided not to tell her anything either. However, so many changes had occurred over the last few months that they were bound to attract his wife's attention. To tell the truth, she was happy with these changes, for they were all for the better. Nitam read all his new books over the Christmas holidays. Then he learned a number of lines the hero of one of the plays was supposed to speak and held a little performance for his wife. Manorama's eyes nearly popped out. She could never have imagined that such talent was hidden within her husband. Nitam was 39 years old. No one at that age can possibly grow taller. The average male grows in height up to the age of 25 at the most. But Nitam noticed one day that the sleeves of his shirts appeared shorter. He measured his height once more. It was now 5 feet 9 inches. He did not disclose this extraordinary occurrence to anyone except his wife. Manorama had to be told because he needed to get new clothes made. It proved to be an expensive business, but overjoyed by this unexpected turn of events, Nitam did not mind spending the extra money. Besides, it was not just his height that had improved. His complexion now looked clearer, and his physical strength had increased considerably. One day he returned from work and spent a long time standing before the mirror fixed on his wardrobe. Then he took a decision. He would go to Shambazar, where most of the theater companies had their offices. He had heard that the Samrat Opera Company had recently lost Malloy Kumar, who used to play their male lead. Nitam would go and talk to the manager of Samrat. He did not waste any time. Soon, he was sitting face to face with the manager, Priyanath Saha. "Have you had any experience?" the manager asked. "No, none," Nitam admitted frankly, "but I can act. Would you like me to show you? I know all the lines Malloy Kumar spoke in your play echoes." "Really?" said Priyanath Saha. "Akhil Babu," he called a second later. A bald, middle-aged man lifted a curtain and entered the room. "Did you call me?" he asked. "Yes, arrange an audition for this man. He says he knows Malloy's lines. See if he'll do." It did not take them long to find out. In only a few minutes, Nitam proved that he was not just good, but in fact, much better as an actor than their departed hero. On the 1st of January, he resigned from his job and joined Samrat. His starting salary was $2,500. If the audience liked him, it would go up soon, he was assured. No one in his old office had ever thought that he might leave them one day. "Well, change is inevitable, isn't it?" Nitam said to his colleagues philosophically. It would be a mistake to assume that every man would remain the same or do the same thing all his life. Even so, he could not cut himself off completely from his old friends and colleagues. One Monday, he turned up during their lunch hour for a chat and learned that his vacant post had been filled. It was Phony Babu who gave him this news. "This new man," he said, "is your opposite. I believe he used to be an actor before." Nitam felt curious. "An actor, what's his name?" Manitos Bagshai, apparently. He had met a sadhu in Puri. This sadhu told him that a lot of changes were in store for him. The man was quite tired of his life in the theater. He says he's far happier now with a quiet, steady job. 2. Jokes. Smoking. Once, M.R. Sharma went to England. In the evening, he went to attend a party given by Margaret Thatcher in a marvelous house. As he was passing through a gallery of that house, a guard stopped him and fined him with £25 for smoking, as smoking was prohibited there. M.R. Sharma searched through his pocket, but he had only a £50 note. So he asked his wife, "Mrs. Sharma, you smoke too?" VCR. A Sardar walked into a household appliances store. The owner was busy tallying his accounts, and his eyes were glued to his ledgers. The Sardar asked the owner, "I want that VCR." Without taking the eyes off the ledgers, the owner replied, "No, Sardar, that is not for you." Our Sardar felt insulted. He thought that the shopkeeper was biased against Sardars. Next day, he arrived at the shop clean-shaven and without his headgear. He asked for the same VCR. The owner, who was again busy tallying his accounts, replied, without raising his head, "No, Sardar, that is not for you." The Sardar was perplexed. How could the shopkeeper guess correctly that he was a Sardar? So, the next day, the Sardar went to the same shop disguised as a woman, in churdar pajami and jumper, head covered with dupatta, and asked for the same VCR. The shopkeeper again replied without raising his head, "No, Sardar, that is not for you." Puzzled, the Sardar asked the shopkeeper how he guessed that he was a Sardar without raising his head. "Very simple," said the shopkeeper. "That is not a VCR, that is a washing machine." "Boy, Mom, Ajmara dost gar arahai, gar ke sab hilond badu." "Mom, Tara dost chor hai kea." "Boy, Nehen, woat ne kilon pachin lega." "Boy, Mom, my friend is coming to our house. Please hide all the toys." "Mom, is your friend a thief?" "Boy, no, but he will recognize which toys are his." 3. Grammar page.